rise and shine. It's your morning marijuana motivation time. We're going to have a real hour-long conversation this morning. I'm Mark Saint. This is Saint's Addiction. I'm addicted to this life. I go live every morning showing off my fitness, showing off my mentality, showing off my spirituality. And this morning, live from the bungalow in the jungle, we're going to have a conversation about love addiction. It's obviously Saint's addiction, and I'm honest about my addictions openly and honestly, always talking about them. And then this morning, or this last night, after being blocked by someone that I loved, and realized that I was looking for a hit of love, and love is my drug. And if anybody else can hear, attest to this, or feel this, let's get into it, shall we? Boom, baby, boom. Let's go. So I literally just walked down. I almost started the show about an hour ago because, it's like 11:11, 12:12. Start the shows on some angel numbers so that way, hopefully, we're blessed with some sort of, I don't know, higher intelligence that comes out of my mouth and maybe hits your brain and maybe sinks in on this one, because this one was an aha for me. It was just one of those things that I don't want to cry, don't want to get emotional, but one of the things that really hit home is just how fragile sobriety is, how addictive substances and feelings are, and then we're going to go deeper into just patterns and how we repeat these cycles. There's a love cycle. I posted it on my memes. Fuck the motorcycles that always come by. These things. There's Mako again. He's just always desperate, looking for her. Look, he went up past. He's searching the house like a little rabid dog, and he is here for his addiction. He doesn't even know it. He went all the way up a hill. He went past me. He stared at everything just to see if that girl was there so he could get a hit of her. Now, hear me now, feel me now. This is something that's super important, and only those people that have probably exhibited some sort of resistance or stoicism or willpower of you be able to notice that you are feeling the way that you are. And look, he had to just roll on back down. He just went to see if she was there. Can I get a hit of that? Can I get a hit of the way I feel when she texts me? Can I get a hit of the way I feel when she likes something on my social media? And can I really reflect on those feelings when she's blocking me and I'm not feeling the same energy? So this is going to be tough for us to learn, and I'm going to get into it. I hate this table. It always wants to move around, but yeah, let's get into it, shall we? So, there we go. No, bitch. No, bitch. You're gonna stay still. All right. Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty good. Sucks, but it's true, and it's something that I had to do. I mean, I literally had her beautiful body naked on the full moon, and my hard dick slapping against her butt, and I didn't go in. And one of the hardest things to do is to quit a sex addiction, right? Most people won't ever identify that way, and this chick's trying to swim through the void. I don't know what she's texting me. I think she's lonely because she's not getting the attention for somebody else, so she comes back to me, and then she'll go around in the morning looking for somebody to pay attention to her or listen to her stories or and or validate her. We do some weird shit. Like this morning, I walked all the way down just to get a little bit of a joint. I didn't have a joint to start the show, so I was like, I got to get something to smoke. This is hitting me that deep. Like I'm really feeling this one in my heart to heart. So if it wasn't for my sobriety, right? Just being honest with you guys, if it wasn't for these six pack abs coming out, right? Like I'm 43 years old and I'm having six pack abs. If it wasn't for the strongest feeling I could feel of sugar addiction, sugar's probably the worst one for me. It's easier for me to quit sex and a beautiful girl bending over on a full moon than sugar. Sugar is almost like, move that bitch aside, I'm gonna get you the cookie, then I'll go hit it. And then you rank some of these things. Like I couldn't even start my morning motivation. It's almost like a coffee, I need cannabis. And then you go seek things and you might not realize it, but you're like, let me just get two drinks like my buddy's grandpa passed away and a shot of tequila and he was white as rain. And he popped MDMA in his mouth. We self-medicate all the time. The challenge is that we only see substances as self-medication. It's like the repeat habits, the things that we seek. We're monkeys. We're looking for the right tree, right feeling. And as soon as we get that fruit in our mouth, boom, we're feeling the way we want to feel, right? Seeking out the information that we want to seek, feeling the way that we want to feel. And that's when I knew that my love wasn't real. As much as I was high on the horse talking about she's my vessel, she's my love, all I have to do is plug into her, we'll be perfectly together. came the fact that I didn't feel like she was really connected to me, that she still wanted to see other people, that she was poly, and she kept making me an option. And part of me is like, this is like cocaine. Like, part of me was straight up, bro, this is like cocaine, where you know it's making you worse. You know you're not feeling any better, but you're glamorized to this polarity thought, the opposite of the truth. And the delusion is that you're always going to, I tell people all the time, you're always going to be there with strippers and snort and blow off their pussy, and it's a full on orgy, and it's just you and a threesome. What reality happens, the real of it, realize, is that it's not what the truth is. It's usually a bunch of dudes, 4 or 5 dudes in a bathroom around a urinal. Stuff's falling on the ground. Someone told me to actually put their finger where the pee was and actually put it on their teeth. This is stuff that's self harming, right? This is stuff that if you really tuned in and you learn and you level up, especially for the love addiction cycle, that there's even a cycle. And what it does is it's like taking a drug that's making us worse, right? It's one of these things where you will do anything for another hit of crack, even if it's got you out in the streets dancing around naked and acting crazy. You need a hit of crack, and you don't care if other people are embarrassed or if you steal from family members or something bad worse is going to happen. As long as I feel okay now, I'm going to be okay. And that's what's really tough about addiction. This isn't even just substances. It's not just feelings, but repetitive behaviors that we all choose to go after. This is the addictive part of it, and I'm human too. I'll cry about it. I'm human too. Okay, I get very addicted. This woman was so juicy to me. It was hard for me not to sleep with her on the beach under the full moon. It was hard for me to let her go and not get any more of my narcissistic supply or my ego boosted or the feeling that I got. Right, I got this high, this immediate high. So every hour send some video, every hour send some meme, every hour send some I love yous and everything, and then it just stopped. She literally blocked me, said we're gonna have a cord cutting ceremony, and I instantly started to feel free. What happened was is that anything that I chased, just like things that are chasing me, I can feel it pull me. I can feel the cookies in my bag pull me in Brazil. This is when I first identified that I had a sugar addiction, that I was in my bed for 2 hours looking up, just couldn't even go to bed because I was obsessing about getting the cookies. Like literally having internal conversations for literally 2 hours, trying to battle my willpower between my addictions and willpower over addictions is what we're gonna have to make a shirt. Hold on, let me write that down. Willpower over addictions, but I gotta start writing most of these down. I say them on the show and then I forget to write them down, but I'll get it again. Um, Come on, willpower over addictions. Willpower over addictions, because what's going to happen is if you complete the cycle of the love cycle, the love addiction cycle, and there is a love addiction cycle, love addiction cycle. So I put that in the meme, but most people never get to see this. It's being shit, but we're gonna look into it. Starts running. This, oh shit! I'm getting off of the was supposed to be here and wasn't here. Welcome to Love Addiction Cycle. So, returns to fantasy or moves on to a new relationship. Okay, here it is. And responsive to the avoidance, seductiveness, and enters the relationship in a haze of fantasy, right? Denies partners walls and importance of life outside of relationship. Experience an event that shatters the denial. Emotional withdrawal from fantasy. The day you took a photo of my boobs. Yes, I did. Pain, anger, fear, shame, rage, panic. Returns to the fantasy or moves to a new relationship. Obsesses and medicates. So we jump on this cycle without maybe even knowing it. And what's really weird, as I've noticed, is when I've quit my addictions, is that the pool is still the same. The same pool for like cocaine or what else? Sugar or anger. Even it was I was so convinced that everything was. This is not centered. I'm not centered. I'm not feeling very centered right now. There we go. Okay, so I'm not feeling centered, so things aren't going to get centered, and that's what ends up happening. We look for things outside of ourselves that are supposed to fix ourselves or make ourselves better, and it doesn't. And that's why it was so dangerous for me. Even though this chick was beautiful and she was telling me she loved me and she even made love to me within the first 6 hours, it wasn't just me. I was an excuse or a whoopsie in her celibacy, because apparently she had one a month before that, and every time she's like, I'm back on my celibacy. That's what she's telling these guys till they ravage her in my bungalow, or get her a month before, or even maybe she had 6 or 8 months before that without having sex. She's basically using it as a coping mechanism. You know, right inside, all these guys are in your face. They give you all this attention, and if you don't get enough attention or narcissistic supply from someone else, you rotate to the next guy, and then you get what you want, right? You always have a supply of somebody looking at you with googly eyes and just being like, oh my God, you're amazing, you're a goddess, and narcissistic supply all day. And what I noticed is that once that was gone, she had no supply for me. This was very interesting for me, right? I was looking at this thing and I was just like, wow, you know, not for nothing, but you're not telling me you love me back, or you're mentioning other dudes, or you're doing a tarot card and is it you or is it this other guy? I'm like, how's there an or? Like, I've never been an or in my life. I've never been someone else's option, and that's all it was. And just asked her straight, is this what you want and this is what you don't? She didn't know. I just walked away, and I had to cold walk away and without saying goodbye, because I knew how addicted the supply was. I knew if I stuck around and wanted to listen to her more, or let her words go into my ears, or even be near that kind of cocaine, even be near the powder or catch that smoke, if any of that shit was going to happen, this is what it was going to do. And I was like, okay, wait a minute, this seems different than before, right? This seems way different than before. There's some dude hammer in the background. I'm gonna have to ask him to chill the fuck out, because it's like every day these guys are under construction and they're ruining my fucking show, and I want to punch him in his face. That's me reacting, right? That's me getting off on my sauce and everything else fucking happening. And that's what I started to fucking notice, right? I started to notice myself lean in too much. I started to notice myself, hey, I started to notice myself leaning in too much, right? Like I was wanting it too much, and I'm making it into a fantasy of this. Hey, I'm gonna have a threesome in the bathroom, right? That was not the reality. The reality is that she was still wanting to see other people, that she was still poly, you know what I mean? That things were going to go the way that she wanted them to go and not the opposite direction. And that's when I was realizing that I was going up a hill, right? I was going up a hill, and there was no winning this battle. And the only thing that was pushing me up the hill was my addiction to the feeling that I was getting. And then when I would get to the top of the cycle, I would fall off instantly and not feel good at all. And that's what really bothered me. It's like I started to learn that these things are happening, you know what I mean? And that they're happening for a reason, and to me. I'm gonna ask him to fucking chill the fuck out here in a second, man. Just give me like 10 minutes. Not tea, huh? Not tea, nah? Yo. So anyway, yeah, let's light this joint so I can get into it, shall we? So here we go. Your boy's saying these things all over the place. There's things all over the place. It's fucking hammerings all over the place. There we go. Put something underneath here. Come on, bitch. Come on, bitch. Cool. So, let's get into it, shall we? Because I've been listening to some videos on how to get over a broken heart, and all these other things, and just other things like that. So this is what's going on, and this is how it happens. So come on, let's go. I found this to be the most helpful, and the guy was very eloquent about it. But I'm going to pause my way through the video so we can go for point on how this is really working out. So if you ever get a chance, it's called "How to Fix a Broken Heart" by Guy Winch. It's another TED Talk. Guy Winch, Fix a Broken Heart. Can you screenshot it? He looks like this. Come on now. Come on. 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 There he is.
Almost every one of us will have her heart broken. My patient Kathy planned her wedding when she was in middle school. She would meet her future husband by age 27, get engaged a year later, and get married a year after that. But when Kathy turned 27, she didn't find a husband. She found a lump in her breast. She went through many months of harsh chemotherapy and painful surgeries, and then just as she was ready to jump back into the dating world, she found a lump in her other breast and had to do it all over again.
So this is life, right? We have these plans and fantasies in our world that we expect things to happen at a certain timeline, and when they don't happen, like I expected to have a baby before I was 40. When it didn't happen, it shattered my reality. It was not the real that I was seeking, and that's why I'm talking about seeking the real.
Kathy recovered, though, and she was eager to resume her search for a husband as soon as her eyebrows grew back in. When you're going on first dates in New York City, you need to be able to express a wide range of emotions.
And that's the tick of it. We are holding our breath for something that might not even happen, and then the reality happens. Like this chick says, I would keep your baby if I had it. When she, the first thing I said, why? She says, because I'm getting old. So at 38, even though she is getting close to geriatric pregnancy, and there's a higher level of autism when you have children older or anything like this, the regret starts kicking in. The timetable starts kicking in, and someone that would actually keep my baby, like, will actually block me. I thought that was interesting.
Soon afterwards, she met Rich and fell in love. The relationship was everything she hoped it would be. 6 months later, after a lovely weekend in New England, Rich made reservations at their favorite romantic restaurant. Kathy knew he was going to propose, and she could barely contain her excitement. But Rich did not propose to Kathy that night. He broke up with her.
He broke up with her.
As deeply as he cared for Kathy, and he did,
He did. He loved
he
her.
simply wasn't in love.
Ooh.
Kathy was
Ooh.
shattered. Her heart was truly broken, and she now faced yet another recovery.
And that's what this is. This is about recovery. This is why I'm going to go deep today and do a full hour. I needed to go get some weed and have some concentration. And I'm mad that this guy's going behind me making all this noise because it is so hard to have recovery. If I hadn't been on this year journey, fasting, working out, and talking, sitting alone with my feelings and letting them impact me, letting them sink in and actually have a conversation with myself and go, okay, what do you really need? And write down a list of love and what I want and what I don't want out of love. And what I was feeling was so high, I couldn't see the forest through the trees. I mean, this chick's literally arguing with me after a beautiful date, wanting to be alone. I'm fighting for her to want to be with me, and even then, I started to chase the validity. I started to chase that high, and then I knew I was addicted. As soon as I'm like chasing the cookie, chasing the pussy, chasing that cookie and that pussy, you know what I'm saying, and chasing a feeling, I can I can detect in myself when I'm becoming an addict. I can feel it in myself that I'm willing to stop the whole show, close down the shop, and go get some pussy. And that's happened before. So let's get it. Let's keep it real. Let's go.
5 months after the breakup, Kathy still couldn't stop thinking about Rich. Her heart was still very much broken. The question is, why? Why was this incredibly strong and determined woman unable to marshal the same emotional resources that got her through 4 years of cancer treatments?
4 years of cancer treatment since she willed herself out into health and back into life and wanting to love her life again, just like me. I fought for me to love my life. It's almost taken me a full year, actually 3 years, to get back to this normalcy. And for some reason, I'm still weak to love addiction. It was hard for me to process. Even now, when I think about her, I think she's going to show up any moment. We're going to block each other and we're going to just re-love each other. And she's going to capitulate and actually sacrifice something for me, or her poly, or choose me, or choose the other dude. I said, go with Mo. That's been my philosophy. She has some other dude named Mo. Go with him. If all your friends want to be with him and he wants to start a business with you, by all means, go with Mo, bro. Like, go Brandon, go with Mo. I'm over it. You know what I mean? Like, do what you got to do, bitch, but it ain't going to be me. So instead of doing me and retaining my energy, what would have happened if I slept with her on that full moon is we would have reconnected and I would have been recycled into the love addiction and I would have been as addicted to her, if not even more. Like, really more.
Why do so many of us flounder when we're trying to recover from heartbreak? Why do the same coping mechanisms that get us through all kinds of life challenges fail us so miserably when our heart gets broken? In over 20 years of private practice, I've seen people of every age and background face every manner of heartbreak. And what I've learned is this: when your heart is broken, the same instincts you ordinarily rely on will time and again lead you down the wrong path. You
And that's what I was doing. I knew that I was chasing someone that wasn't chasing me, and that someone that could have my baby and block me instantly was the same person. This person that loved being adored and loved being loved by me and wanted to actually be addicted to love with me. It's so funny when you seek these things. When you go to the bar, you're finding the people that are addicted to alcohol. When you're going to the club, you're finding the people that are addicted to drugs. And when you're finding love, you too might be addicted to love as well.
mind is telling you.
Yeah, it was fire.
For example, we know from studies of heartbroken people that having a clear understanding of why the relationship ended is really important for our ability to move on.
And this is where I had to really realize that the reason our relationship ended. Hey, this guy, give me like 10 more minutes. He just keeps fucking doing it, and he doesn't even have to do that. But anyway, he's in construction mode, building a staircase behind us. But anyway, the thing that I couldn't really shake was that I had to realize part of my heartbreak and part of my sobriety and getting away from this cycle was that I had to realize that I was getting high. Yeah. I'm asking for like 10 minutes because this guy's killing me right now. He just keeps dipping and driving me nuts. Let's go.
Yet, time and again, when we are offered a simple and honest explanation, like the one Rich offered Kathy, we reject it.
Yeah.
Heartbreak creates such dramatic emotional pain, our mind tells us the cause must be equally dramatic. And that gut instinct is so powerful, it can make even the most reasonable and measured of us come up with mysteries and conspiracy theories where none exist.
Yeah, we make up fantasies. It's the same thing with your boy Sir Isaac Newton. He had all the intelligence of the universe, and so he could calculate the stars, but he couldn't calculate his greed. He literally bought into the tulip fantasy, doing the tulips and everything, and that's what he did. He was just looking. This guy's just annoying the shit out of me. He's just going right through my show. I'm gonna ask him to give me like 10 minutes, dude, because he's driving me fucking nuts with this hammering. I can't. I'm not gonna do it. So. See, I'm gonna walk over there and just ask him to shut the fuck up before I fucking punch him the fuck up. It's fucking driving me nuts, and everybody else has to hear it. But yeah. See if he's still doing it. Brother. Can you give me? I'm on the phone. Can you give me like sip not tea? Bam. Yo. Sip not tea. I'm on the phone. Cobb. Yeah, this guy's just banging away and being annoying, and it's just like, dude, stop, bro. I'm trying to say something important. It's something that I hope everybody else gets, because love addiction is a real thing. You know, I have saints addiction, and I'm honest about my cocaine addiction. I'm honest about my weed addiction, but I'm also honest about my love addiction. And little did I know, especially falling in love 2 weeks before, I'm a love addict. As soon as I feel someone's in love with me, I feel like I'm in love with them, and I want those feelings. And that's what I was addicted to. I was addicted to the feelings, addicted to my feels. And how it makes me feel, and how it makes me feel super good inside. And it's just like chasing a cocaine high. I'm just going after it like a fucking junkie.
Kathy became convinced something must have happened during her romantic getaway with Rich that soured him on the relationship, and she became obsessed with figuring out what that was. And so she spent countless hours going through every minute of that weekend in her mind, searching her memory for clues that were not there.
There's no
Kathy's
excuse.
mind tricked her into initiating this wild goose chase, but what compelled her to commit to it for so many months? Heartbreak is far more insidious than we realize. There is a reason we keep going down one rabbit hole after another, even when we know it's going to make us feel worse.
And that's the addiction cycle. Knowing that you're going to do cocaine is going to make you worse isn't the same knowledge as the fun in your brain that it tells you to. It's literally sending you signals to say, as long as she texts me, I'm going to feel okay. Or as long as I see her, I'm going to be okay. And as long as she's like near me, it's okay that she wants to sleep with other people, or choose other people, or choose to be poly. It was not okay with me. With the German girl, it's not okay for you to be critical and call me names and call me an asshole in my own place, and get physically abusive, like push the door back on me. It's time for you to go. As much as we thought it was love, it's time for that to go.
Brain studies have shown that the withdrawal of romantic love activates the same mechanisms in our brain that get activated when addicts are withdrawing from substances like cocaine or
or opioids.
Opioids.
Bro, it is such a pull. The withdrawal symptoms of love, the way I feel that I might not never find love again, and it makes me scared like I should capitulate and compromise my values or my wants or my needs. I start to drive myself insane. I start to look for the next high, just like going down today and try to find some weed. I was for sure going to seek it. I wasn't going to let it go by me. I need that hit, almost like a narcissistic supply. I'll do anything to get that shine. And it's almost like doing a show with my shirt off on YouTube and being honest about my relationships and my mistakes and my failures. Also, other attention seeking things like sending her memes or messaging at her at 222 because I know she's spiritual, and all these other things were all ways for me to find my way to the next hit and not get my withdrawal symptoms anymore.
Kathy was going through withdrawal. And since she could not have the heroin of actually being with Rich, her unconscious mind chose the methadone of her memories with him. Her instincts told her she was trying to solve a mystery, but what she was actually doing was getting her fix.
That's right. It's a fix. I was getting my fix. When I got a text, I got my fix. And now that she's totally blocked me, I don't get my fix anymore. And I sit there like a withdrawal victim, looking around for a supply. And maybe the next girl, or like a lot of men like to do, they like to get really, really drunk when they're brokenhearted, or just go find another girl and try to cover it up. But we cannot fix our wounds through sexual conquest. We cannot fix our wounds through drugs. It isn't a full on addiction and is going to leave us worse than when we started.
This is what makes heartbreak so difficult to heal. Addicts know they're addicted. They know when they're shooting up. But heartbroken people do not.
That's the weird part, is like when you're conscious of your sobriety, you know when you're using, you know when you're seeking to get that high, you know you're finding a way to save up money for that next beer, you know when you're out of money, but you're still going to find a way to find ecstasy pills, you know when you're in need of another hit and can't find a way to it.
But you do now.
It's
And if
addiction.
your heart is
Love is an
broken,
addiction.
you cannot ignore that. You have to recognize that as compelling as the urge is, with every trip down memory lane, every text you send, every second you spend stalking your ex on social media, you are just feeding your addiction, deepening your emotional pain, and complicating your recovery.
And that's what it is. As long as I participated with her and kept showing up in it, I'm glad she blocked me because I would be participating in it. I had no money and I was still trying to find a way to her beach because she blocked me. I felt like everything's been cut off. I'll never see her again and I will never be the same. I just missed a big opportunity. I just missed this big fish. And what I do to myself is I forget that this big fish didn't want me back. And that's a hard thing to hear. It hurts the ego, it hurts the heart because someone that I love and I want to be with doesn't want to be with me in the same capacity. And that's when I know cocaine wasn't loving me, she wasn't loving me, and I was more addicted to the feeling than the outcome.
Getting over heartbreak is not a journey, it's a fight. And your reason is your strongest weapon. There is no breakup explanation that's going to feel satisfying. No rationale can take away the pain you feel. So don't search for one. Don't wait for one. Just accept the one you were offered or make up one yourself and then put the question to rest because you need that closure to resist the addiction.
The addiction is always going to look for another hit. It's always going to look for a reason to find it. It's always going to look for a reason to snort it. It's always going to rationalize a way that you can have substance abuse to feel the way that you want to feel. You'll just you know it's hurting you, but you're like, oh, it's just one beer, or it's just one dinner, or I just want to see her again. We're rationalizing and coping, and we don't even fucking know it.
And you need something else as well. You have to be willing to let go, to accept that it's over. Otherwise, your mind will feed on your hope and set you back.
And that's what it did. The hope would get me up to that high again, that she might just love me and drop this whole poly thing and drop all these other lovers and just choose me. And the fact that it didn't hurt my ego, it hurt my feelings that I was not chosen. I was passed by, and somebody cut off my narcissistic supply and literally just blocked me.
Hope can be incredibly destructive when your heart is broken. Heartbreak.
Hope, the quintessential human behavior. We talk about all the time in Matrix. That's like it's this hope that drives us, and it's also what's really weird when you're captive by somebody. I remember they talk about it with serial killers, is like people still have hope even with their dying last breath that this might all end, and they can get out. It's this behavior that drives us. It's the thing that they're looking for in our eyes before they kill us, is like this human thing that's this still positive in a negative situation, that it's going to change.
Is a master manipulator. The ease with which it gets our mind to do the absolute opposite of what we need in order to recover is remarkable. One of the most common tendencies we have when our heart is broken is to idealize the person who broke it.
Oh yeah, man, we idolize cocaine. We think that it's just such a famous drug that it's going to make us feel this really superstar, rock star, porn star feeling, and what it ends up makes us feels like a degenerate and somebody that's desperate for another hit.
Hours remembering their smile, how great they made us feel. That time we hiked up the mountain and made love under the stars.
Yep, full moon
All
under the
that
stars.
does is make our loss feel more painful.
Yeah.
We know that.
I knew it. I knew if I fucking slept with her, I would have been even more connected to her and even more addicted to her, and even more so. That's why she was trying to keep me around. She was sending me mixed messages talking about her celibacy, but flashing me her titties and talking sexual and saying that she's breaking. She's like, damn this addiction, and she was addicted to it too. So she found a user like me, someone else that would be addicted into love and addicted into chasing, and she didn't mind because that was her style too. She was on the same drug.
Yet we still allow our mind to cycle through one greatest hit after another, like we were being held hostage by our own passive-aggressive Spotify playlist.
A passive aggressive Spotify playlist. What a great way to put it. We do passively aggressively torture ourselves. We'll passively aggressively tease ourselves with certain things. We'll go into it and just be like, okay, hey, let's tease ourselves with a photo. Let me look at her photos again. Let me see if she's online again. Let me aggressively, passively, it's a little passive, to just see if she's online, but it's aggressively treating my mind as another hit. I'm literally searching for it.
Heartbreak will make those thoughts pop into your mind, and so to avoid idealizing, you have to balance them out by remembering their frown, not just their smile.
The reason why I broke up with her is not because she's beautiful. She was already beautiful, but all the guys think that she's beautiful, and I couldn't assure paternity. I couldn't assure that it wasn't the guy the month before me, or that it would be the next guy that she's already been sleeping with, because she still loves him and she doesn't want to lose that relationship. So she has poly love. She has multiple loves, and I couldn't deal with it. I was like, if you don't love me and just me, then is it really love?
How bad they made you feel. The fact that after the lovemaking, you got lost coming down the mountain, argued like crazy, and didn't speak for 2 days.
The truth of it, we had a romantic day, and I'm idolizing this romantic day, but it ended so weird. She had a full-on panic attack, cried, got mean, and pushed me away. Those are the real things of it. So like a physical push, and I was like, I blew past this breakdown because she was so sexy, and I wanted her so bad, and I wanted her to be in love with me so bad that I hazed over the facts.
What I tell my patients is to compile an exhaustive list of all the ways the person was wrong for you, all the bad qualities, all the pet peeves, and then keep it on your phone.
That's right. You got to write the list. I had to write down the list of what I wanted, didn't know. It's called the love list. But you got to identify that stuff to yourself and say, okay, hey, what's on my love list? And why is it important to me? Because if you get back to your principles, if you get back to your morals and your values, you will see that it was fucking with me. It was literally making me crazy. And that's why I had to walk away from her without saying goodbye. I'm like, this chick is just so fucking crazy, so far gone. I have to get off her love roller coaster.
And once you have your list, you have to use it. When I hear even a hint of idealizing or the faintest whiff of nostalgia in a session, I go, phone please.
Phone please, where's the list, love list?
Your mind will try to tell you they were perfect, but they were not. And neither was the relationship. And if you want to get over them, you have to remind yourself of that frequently.
And that's what it is that's when I knew it was a love addiction. I had to remind myself that beer does feel good, but it's going to fuck me up. It's going to make me fight my friends. It's going to me get into physical fights. It's going to get me kicked out of places. I literally embarrass myself, and I lose all control and even black out. That's the truth.
None of us is immune to heartbreak.
Nope.
My patient Miguel was a 56-year-old senior executive in a software company. 5 years after his wife died, he finally felt ready to start dating again. He soon met Sharon, and a whirlwind romance ensued. They introduced each other to their adult children after 1 month, and they moved in together after
After two
two.
months.
When middle-aged people date, they don't mess around. It's
Uh,
like love actually meets the fast and the furious.
Love Actually meets Fast and Furious. That's funny. But isn't that what we want? We want it so desperately that we compromise everything. We compromise rationale. We compromise ourselves. We compromise our values really quickly, and that's what principles are. They're only going to be real when they're challenged. And like my great aunt used to be say, your principles will never be convenient. They will never be convenient. That you just, I deserve to be loved. I deserve. That was the truth of it. We had this romantic night, and then it ended with a panic attack, a fight, and she didn't come home with me. I idealized what we were feeling. That's a beautiful woman that would love me and tell me that she loves me, and that it was crazy that she wanted to keep my baby, and that she loved my legs and how sexy I was. I was getting off on the sauce, bro.
Miguel was happier than he had been in years.
It makes you feel so
But
good.
the
It's
night before their
better than
first
drugs.
anniversary,
Love is a drug.
Sharon left him.
She left
She
him.
had decided to move to the West Coast to be closer to her children, and she didn't want a long distance relationship. Miguel was totally blindsided and utterly devastated. He barely functioned at work for many, many months, and he almost lost his job as a result. Another consequence.
I was crying at the conventions. It broke me, and even right now, the reason I'm doing this show is because I felt so strong with my sobriety. For the first time, I was like, "Who am I? I'm the man that come up with 100 grand. I'm the man that just found a friend. This is good news, by the way. Just yesterday, I didn't know my buddy had it like that. And he's like, Mark, do you need some money? And he's ready to build these bungalows with me. He's ready to give me 100,000 bought in cash, 3,000 US dollars, and now I have enough money to live the rest of my days here. I can build. He has more money than that. He has no kids. Yeah, he's an uncle, but he's never been married, had no kids. And I met him about 6 to 8 years ago here in Thailand at Koh Chang, maybe multiple times, and we hung out. And little did I know he'd be my rich uncle and come save me and give me a way out. I had no money. I still have no money. And now that my friend's here, he's going to give me some money, help me transfer some money. There's 500 US dollars. And then another friend's coming in with $3,000, and I can complete this whole pattern. I can make this place fucking brand new again and fucking do something awesome. And that's been really nice, you know? Really nice. He's literally got enough cash. He only carries cash for him to live for 6 months in Thailand. And then when he's going back, we're actually going to meet at the airport so he can give me cash and we can see each other. And I'm even thinking about leaving next week or in a week so that I can go over to Phuket, pick up the cash and come back. Maybe go to the airport, fly to Phuket, spend a week with them, really get to enjoy my friend and the people that believe in my heart and believe in me. And the fact that I don't drink, he can invest in me. He doesn't drink either. I would never got that as he would never be my investor if I was a bad person. If he didn't trust my heart, if I wasn't genuine and still fucking plug in with him and check on him once in a while, had no clue that this man had 100,000 in cash for me. And here I am, a man, because I'm strong now. I have my mental strength about me. It's not just my body, it's my mental strength. It's the way that I started to treat myself. It's the way that I healed myself. It's the way that I started to prioritize myself and stop prioritizing the drugs or stop prior. Look at this abs, bro. I'm literally got abs now and then a tan, and I'm 43 fucking years old, bro. I'm almost 50, and your boy is looking like he's fucking 25, 30. It was, I chose me. And that's what I started to do. I was like, this isn't making me feel happy. I have to identify what gives me peace. And that's what I was seeking. If she's not bringing me peace, then she's bringing me problems. And I had to identify that. No matter how shiny the object was, I have to let go of the monkey trap so my fist comes back out of the hole. If I hold on to it too long, then I'm stuck chasing after her, hearing her about stories about other men, put my name on the list, and me being in the line holding a fucking number. No, thank you.
Of heartbreak is that feeling alone and in pain can significantly impair our intellectual functioning, especially when performing complex tasks involving logic and reasoning. It temporarily lowers our IQ.
Wow. Yeah, your brain just doesn't function the same on drugs. It literally alters the way. That's what drugs do. They alter the way that you feel. And if you're feeling altered, right, you're going to also have altered results. You know, I always say if it comes out of me sideways, you know what I mean? It doesn't come out of me accurately unless I'm being clear with myself, if I'm being honest with myself, if I look at the list and say, this is what I seek, and I seek someone that's seeking me. I don't want somebody that's seeking other people. I want somebody that wants to plug into me, catch up to this train, want to live this lifestyle, travel the world, and live in bungalows sometimes, but still raise a family and still do business and work together and improve each other. That's the person I want. I want the person that jumps into the foxhole with me and takes fire and goes through the war instead of someone that runs from me or seeks someone else.
But it wasn't just the intensity of Miguel's grief that confused his employers, it was the duration. Miguel was confused by this as well and really quite embarrassed by it. What's wrong with me? He asked me in our session. What adult spends almost a year getting over a one-year relationship? Actually, many do. Heartbreak shares all the hallmarks of traditional loss and grief. Yep. Insomnia, intrusive thoughts, immune system dysfunction. 40% of people experience clinically measurable depression. Heartbreak is a complex psychological injury. It impacts us in a multitude of ways. For example, Sharon was both very social and very active. She had dinners at the house every week. She and Miguel went on camping trips with other couples, although Miguel was not, but because it tells us how to heal.
Sorry,
to fix your broken heart. You have to identify these voids in your life and fill them. And I mean all of them. The voids in your identity. You have to reestablish who you are and what your life is about.
That's what's so weird. It's like you get so connected. That's what's so weird. It's like you get so connected to these people, then you identify with them, and you like now I'm talking a lot more about apps because she is. I'm now talking a lot about tarot cards and avoiding dismissive talking and because she was, and now it's in my lexicon. I literally absorbed her and started to obsess about her and looking for coping mechanisms. I searched everywhere.
Points in your social life, the missing activities, even the empty spaces of the wall where pictures used to hang. But none of that will do as in your ex instead of focusing on how they were wrong for you. Indulging thoughts and behaviors that still give them a starring role in this next chapter of your life when they shouldn't be an extra.
Damn, a no player character. It was only a one night stand, and I'm building her into a pedestal of the next mother of my children. I have high expectations. I tend to do that in my brain, and each woman. I thought I was going to be married and children with a German girl. 2 weeks later, I think it's the half Thai, half Norwegian girl, and then it just gets blocked, and then I go searching for another hit through someone else, just like all men. And like, here, look, I want you to heal me. I want you to be the one, and as soon as I find the one, everything's going to be okay.
Getting over heartbreak is hard, but if you refuse to be misled by your mind and you take steps to heal, you can significantly minimize your suffering. And it won't just be you who benefit from that. You'll be more present with your friends, more engaged with your family. Not to mention the billions of dollars of compromised productivity in the workplace that could be avoided.
I mean, that's what we're really talking about. Productivity. It's like, if I'm being efficient, I wasn't going to let it allow me to self-harm myself. I wasn't going to get back into alcohol because my feelings hurt. I stuck to my workout routines, and I stuck to my frisbee, and I stuck to my patterns or my routines so that I could still stay healthy. This healthy routine that I'm on gave me the ability to see clearly. If I was inebriated, then I would be emotional, and then again I'd be back into the cycle. And it's funny how the drugs and the alcohol play upon the love addiction as well. So they kind of play together. It's almost like tobacco and weed. They're a cousin plant, so they work well together in my brain. What about the access side? You have that, like FTP. This guy's messaging me. Sorry, guys, I'm not going to get into it. I already interrupted the show, but it was that important to me. I wanted to do an hour show. I got 15 minutes to go. But it was so apparent to me that I was seeking something that what it actually wasn't. That I had rose-colored glasses, this rose tint to it. That if the things of the externals, like I'm stealing from my friends, or it's killing my health, or it's not making me a good friend or a family member, these things we push to the side because we're too preoccupied with wanting to get a hit. That locked you out of. Okay, no, I don't think it's locked out of. Anyway, I shouldn't be messaging during the show. I got high, and this is important to me. It's about my website, so pardon. But that's this kind of energy. That I would be ready and focused on my business than ready and focused on if she's on Instagram. The same amount of energy is being expended, but like my focus wasn't. So I had to stay focused on my fitness. I had to stay focused on my health, and especially my mental health, so that I could be an established man. With I'm feeling lost, all these other girls are hooking up with someone else, and all these other people are on the beach, and they're all holding each other's hands. I wanted that. I wanted her to be in my arms in the ocean in front of my friends, kissing me and sitting next to me, choosing me, holding my hand. Instead, she's off doing other things, not wanting to sleep at nights with me. Sleeps at a fucking different part of the beach, and can walk away from me. And that's what gutted me, that I could have such a beautiful day with her, and that she could end it all and just walk away. Broke my heart. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle the fact that it was all going to end. This fantasy had stopped, and there goes my supply. All of a sudden, I'm thirsty for it, and now I look like an attachment disorder, only because I wanted someone to sleep next to me after we made love.
So if you know someone who's heartbroken, have compassion, because social support has been found to be important for their recovery. And have patience, because it's going to take them longer to move on than you think it should. And if you're hurting, know this: it's difficult. It is a battle within your own mind, and you have to be diligent to win. But you do have weapons. You can fight, and you will heal. Thank you.
Great stuff. Great stuff. And I'll end it with this one. This guy, How to Get Over the End of a Relationship. Antonio Pascual Leon. Antonio Pascual Leon. If you get a chance. This was another one that I hit up. God damn, I'm pressing all the wrong buttons. Come on, stop the pop-ups. Come on, stop the comments. There we go. Get a shot of it. Here's your boy.
My name's Antonio Pasqualeone. I'm a clinical psychologist, and I do research on psychotherapy, and especially on how emotion changes. I'm going to talk today about how to get over the end of a relationship. Now, if you've had an important relationship and you felt a bit stuck on how to move on, maybe you have some lingering bad feelings, right? Some emotional baggage. Let's call it unfinished business. Right? If that's going on, this talk is for you. Okay. So sometimes, it could be grieving the death of a person close to you. Sometimes it's moving on when there's been a betrayal or abuse. It could be with a friend, a coworker, a parent, and of course, romantic breakups basically cover the whole range, right? From pretty straightforward but painful to very complicated. Most people think that moving on is just a matter of time. People come to therapy and they ask me, so how long is this going to take? How much time needs to pass? I was speaking with a guy who's getting divorced for the second time. And he says to me, so I say, how are you doing? And he says, well, I wish it was 2 years from now. Why? Because that's how long it took me last time to get over it. And that idea is fairly common. People think that the bad feeling will just sort of run its course. But if you feel devastated, and there's been a betrayal, then not so much, right? It's not going to be as simple as sleeping off a bad hangover, right? For some people, this process is really frozen in time. There's actually a lot of research on this now, but it's an odd thing to study because...
I would sit there and look at my muscles and see the man that I've created. I would dance on the dance floor and look down at my stomach and see the belly going away. I could see my self control. I could see myself, the man that I built, the man that's not scared to run out of money, that wasn't scared to travel the world without any money, that wasn't scared to have a new body, that took control of his life. I said I wanted to be here and own bungalows. This is my dream. And to get back on my dream, this thing that would make me ultimately happy versus focusing on this thing that wasn't making me happy at all. And I had to sit there and dance to the music and say, I'm here. I'm on the island. I get to be here for forever. I get to be on paradise, and there'll be another beautiful woman just like her, and hopefully just like her, look just like her, but want to be with me, actually be with me. And that's what really stunned me, was just that I was so far removed from myself, this man that I built, this man that built Mostly Saints and built Print in an Hour and built Saints Addiction from nothing, and was my biggest dream. Soon was far back on the reality, because all I wanted was love. It was such a drug. It was like crack. It was like more important than my dream instantly, and that worried me. You know, I have this all this energy, 15 years of dreaming and working hard and showing up to events with no money, and all these things that I've done just so I could make this dream a reality, sitting in my shop for 10 months straight, and saying I want to do the shirt business and being away from this lifestyle. Now I'm actually here. I'm actually on the island. I actually have the lifestyle. I actually have the bungalows, and I actually have friends that are helping me build it. I'm the man that can fundraise. I'm the man that can make my dreams a reality. I didn't give myself any fucking credit that I had sat there. I started to give myself credit last night, but that I had stuck to the routine. I stuck to my fasting. I stuck to not throwing fucking food in my mouth, or sugar. I broke my sugar addiction. I broke my sex addiction, and that I was a man enough to sit here in front of you and say, these traps, this chest come from the push-ups. It comes from the work, and I put in the work, and that's what I had to identify, how much work I put in on myself to not be susceptible to people that love me half-ass.
It's hard to know what to call this. In an early treatment study led by Les Greenberg at York University, they actually just put up signs saying, do you have emotional baggage related to a relationship, right? Do you need help with your unfinished business? And then they just sort of sat patiently by the phone, wondering if anyone would call, because it's not even a diagnosis, right? It's just a metaphor. Well, turns out the phone started ringing off the hook. So it's a very intuitive and common problem. When we do research like this, we usually offer free therapy for people who agree to being studied. And then you spend a lot of time looking at what people do that seems to predict getting better. Some people are skeptical of the research, right? Often I get, isn't it totally different for everyone? And the answer is, well, no, not as different as you might think. It turns out people who resolve these issues often go through 3 distinct steps. And they actually unfold in an order, although it's sort of a messy, nonlinear 2 steps forward, 1 step backward process. I'm saying there seems to be a universal pattern. There is a map. When people have unfinished business, there are 3 things that must happen, a sequence of steps. And the thing is, you can get stuck anywhere in that pipeline. The good news is we also know a bit about how to get people unstuck from each of those spots. So the first step is something like this. For example, a businesswoman takes on a junior partner, and she really invests a lot in mentoring her. They work well together, it's productive. And then for some reason, the junior partner cuts out, ditches the projects. She wants to work more independently. So it's a business scenario, right? But the point is that it was a close relationship and collaborative relationship that ended abruptly. And if you've invested a lot personally, it can feel a bit like getting dumped. The businesswoman tells me about industry conventions, things like that, and she says, I just cringe. Like, what if she's there? It'll be so awkward. I don't know. And when she says, I don't know, that's pretty important. So the issue is we don't go there. We just avoid the issue. It's like the person thinks they can wait it out, as if there was a storm passing overhead. But while you're avoiding the issue, not too much can change. So get in there, keep breathing, tolerate some exposure to the feelings until you start to feel okay with this new normal. Of course, I mean, the reason why we avoid the person or reminders is because it's upsetting. There's usually a sense of very global distress, right? It's like, I'm so upset and I don't know why. It's so awful. But what's it? What's the worst part of it? And the person usually doesn't know.
trip.com ดูกราฟช่วงราคาเที่ยวบินถูก
Typically, people have a lot of sadness and anger, except it's all fused together like a big ugly ball of children's plasticine, right? Except where all the colors are just mashed together. Huh? Anger makes you push your chest out, right? Like this. While sadness, you kind of withdraw, you pull back. So when you're trying to do both at the same time, that's what stuck looks like. Usually it comes out in a sort of whining complaint like, right? That sort of thing. You need to take some time to tease these apart, find the right words, and describe what's so awful or awkward or hard about it. Some people get much more stuck on blaming, right? They get angry and it's all about rejecting the other person. It's like, I'm disgusted, I hate him for what he did to me, she's so terrible. That's all about what you don't want. It's not about what you do want. It's
What I did want is her to love me back the same way that I loved her. That she would stop the philandering and get serious about being with a family. And for her, she wanted to be her own business owner and be like the next Vera Wang. I'm always with these chicks that don't want to put in the work and start late and be a big success. And then I said a lot of women choose their career over a family, and it'll be too late. I almost wish she would freeze her eggs.
It's just not that. Huh? It's a getaway, which actually could be a good start, particularly when there's been abuse or when your boundaries have been violated. But you can't stay there forever. You still have to move on to the next step. And in a sense, you haven't even arrived at the deeper issue yet. So, what to do? Slow down. Where? Where does it hurt? Maybe at the end of a romantic relationship, it's the way she looked down her nose at me. Okay, so what did that make you feel, right?
Made me feel not important.
Someone who described the last time she ever saw her father tells me he threw a pack of cigarettes across the table at me and said, there, that's the last thing you'll ever get from me. Wow, okay. So what's the message being implied here? Yeah,
that I'm
it hurts.
replaceable.
But what hurts is still implicit.
That I'm not chosen.
If you want to get past feeling upset, empty, lonely in these very general ways, then you have to take the time to focus on your feelings, the feelings that you have, and figure out what hurts the most. That takes us to the second step. And it might, this might not apply to everyone, but for some people, the end of a relationship leaves them a bit bent out of shape. And this second step, this might not apply to everyone, but for some people, the end of a relationship leaves them a bit bent out of shape. And this second step, you get stuck because whatever happened jabbed you right in your soft spot, right? Your Achilles heel. The end of the relationship rocked you in some sort of way. It stirred up some deeper, older, uglier feelings.
I might not get chosen.
I remember the first time I really had my heart broken. I was young, and I couldn't figure out why the relationship was ending. And then she says, like a mercy killing, right? You just aren't good at getting stuff done. Ouch.
Ouch.
Right? Because I also already had my own insecurities about that, and it stirred up those self-doubts. I felt like it was a bit true. And so that left a mark.
Leave your mark.
For most people who get stuck, they end up blaming themselves. Whatever happened was my fault. Maybe I deserved to be mistreated or neglected. Or, as I was saying, you start doubting yourself. Oh, it's true. I am incompetent, unlovable, uninteresting. You pick your personal poison here.
And that's what I did. I felt unlovable. I felt that these girls keep passing me by and I was sick of it, making out with other dudes. The chick that made out with one dude from the next dude just made out with my homeboy, and he was putting his arm around her, and she was doing cocaine in the bathroom and getting all the girls to go back and forth from the bathroom, fucking with their noses and shit. She was getting high, and I'm like, that's not my girl. Doing tequila shots and cocaine. That was old me. I don't want to be near that chick. She's a self-destructive, and she's homie hopping left, right, and straight.
A woman who discovered she was being cheated on tells me how she felt like a naive idiot. She says she felt humiliated. People get stuck in this particular way. They're not avoiding, they're not bewildered like in the first step, right? You see, it's that they get caught beating themselves up about something related to the relationship. So,
that I was too attached so quick, that I could fall in love so quick and feel something for somebody. And she was saying the same thing. How can I love somebody so much in just 2 weeks? It's not sustainable.
how do you know if you're stuck in this place? Well, you feel vulnerable and broken, but it's also familiar in a way.
And that sucks, dude. It sucks that I feel this way. I had to identify that I was addicted to love.
The same old story. You've been here before. The truth is, some people will actually slide right through this. They just aren't as vulnerable.
Miko never messages me. He just messaged me, have you seen the crazy lady? He literally went past here searching for her, went back down. Saw me see him, I waved hi. We smoked a joint together yesterday, and he's still looking for his narcissistic supply. He's searching for her. She's off with other dudes. I told him, wear condoms. I wasn't going to tell her that she's a prostitute and there's a bunch of dudes up there. But I also told him wear condoms, and look at him. He doesn't mind being number 7. He doesn't mind being 27 in the bread line. He just needs his bread, and he'll do anything to get the hit, even if there's 27 guys ahead of him. It's crazy.
Whereas for others, especially when it's tied to a history of abuse or neglect, it feels like this is the story of their life. This is where people get depressed, anxious. They lose sleep. What to do? What to do? So, to work through this second step, you really have to go through the eye of the storm, right? The way out is to get a sense of what you really need. I mean an existential need, the need to feel valuable, to feel lovable. Obviously,
feel chosen.
It's hard not to feel like a piece of garbage when somebody takes you out with the trash, right?
Blocked. I'm nothing to her. After all that romance and all the moon manifest, I'm easily blocked. You can go from telling me that you would keep my baby to we don't even talk.
You start to articulate whatever you most deeply need as a living being, it actually creates a contradiction in you. It's sort of like, I need to feel cared for, valuable, and I can feel it in my bones, right? And yet, here I am, in a pile of trash on the curb. It's a contradiction, right? Right. And that's where change starts to happen. What do you most deeply need, even if you don't feel entitled to it? Spell it out.
Love list.
Here's an important point. It's not what you need from that specific person, right? It's not, it's what you do need to flourish as a human. So this is for you. It's not about them. It's not, I need him to apologize. I need her to admit what happened. No. It's, I need to feel like I matter. I need that somebody has my back, that I'm a priority, useful, worthy.
And that's what I didn't feel. I didn't feel useful. I didn't feel needed. You know, she kept sending me, I came in like a wrecking ball from Miley Cyrus, and then the other one, I can buy myself flowers, I can write my name in the sand, and both of us wrote our name in the sand, and she wrote her name above mine, Sarah Hart Mark Hart Sarah. And that was a narcissistic thing that I saw, is that she had no empathy for me. Everything was about her. It was all about what she was going to do in her relationships, what this one guy did to her. She was just obsessing about all these dudes in relationships. And even when I sat down with her, the first 2 hours were all these dudes in relationships and breaking up with friends and people hanging up on her, and her going on this solo journey, and how she needs to have a solo journey. She has work to do and to catch up on that work. And none of that had to do with me communicating with me, working on things with me. In fact, I was number 3, if not number 2.
Here's the problem.
Maybe 4, I don't know.
Life didn't turn out that way, did it? You got hurt, you got mistreated, maybe betrayed, or you just lost someone. So the third step is where you actually go back to how the
Anger
relationship
and
ended.
grief.
Maybe you're pissed off and you hate him and you want to burn all his stuff, okay? But what are you fighting for? I'm fighting for my dignity, my value, my sense of myself as someone who's funny, lovable. It goes back to the need. So
I should be chosen.
you often have to assert
man.
yourself in some way,
made
and
my
that
life.
usually comes in a healthy anger.
I made my life. I made my body, my mind, and my life. I literally said I started a business. It was such a big dream. All I ever wanted to do was just own a business. I said if I can get income and travel the world, I would be happy. I set myself up for this, and now that I'm here, I'm wondering why I wasn't as happy. Turns out I was addicted to love, and when I don't get that supply, I needed to find it within myself. I needed to sit there at the club last night and dance it out and say, hey, I'm here for life. Right now the numbers might be low, but I'm buying on the low. And then eventually when I get back, I'll be able to buy, I'll be on the high, and all this place will be packed. I'll have enough money to survive. The rent money will be my food money, and then I can just keep living here. I can live in paradise and then go around the island, buy the ATV, get mobile, go around the island, see other parts of the islands. There's more islands on the south. Really just live the beach life and be a part of the community, a positive part of the community, and give back to the community. That's what I was seeking. I was like, this will be awesome, and then that's what I wanted to happen. So this is what's going on.
A woman who survived a really predatory relationship, an abusive relationship, she says to me, I got a lot of love to give, and when I love hard. So
Love Addict.
That's worth something.
Love Addict.
Even if he didn't notice it.
She didn't appreciate it.
But when it comes to feeling hurt in relationships, anger and sadness are often two sides of the same coin. One sees this in romantic breakups all the time, right? You've been let down, you're disappointed, and you're angry. But now that you've created some distance, well, I mean, you kind of miss the person too, right? And then you flip-flop back and forth between assertive anger and grieving the loss. Both are true. Two sides of the same coin. Still, it's important to experience each of these in their own right. Grieving a loss is a healthy process. It's hard to move on and enjoy a new horizon in life if you haven't let go of what's behind you.
And that was true of my depression. I forgot that my goals were to be on this island and to live this lifestyle and have this free lifestyle. Right now the numbers are low, so it's not as glamorous, but one of the things they did was cut me off from my social circles and socializing as much as I did. And it really got me to concentrate on what I needed to do. It's easy to socialize and party with people and people from all over the world, and you're hitting on pretty girls daily. And that was my sole focus. I stopped focusing on the bungalows. I stopped focusing on my business. I was running and hiding, and I had to identify on that. I had to identify that I don't need to run and hide to alcohol. I don't need to run and hide to drugs. I don't need to run and hide to parties and socializing. Covered up what's inside.
Even if you're the one who ended the relationship, right? There's still a loss. Because when you started it, you were hopeful. Nobody planned on the relationship ending. When we work through grief, we usually focus on the good things, the things we enjoyed, right? We'll never get together again for a first swim, for a barbecue, no more Wednesday family dinners. Yeah, you have to say goodbye to these things, and you actually put up little tombstones for them. But one of the reasons people have trouble finishing the grief process is because there are actually so many undeclared losses. These are the hopes, the dreams, right, that you had together. When couples split up, for example, sometimes they imagine what it would be like to have children together. Right? Children that now will never be born. And for the business partnership that fell apart, these are all the unfinished projects that will never materialize. When I was doing therapy with a man, an inmate in prison, he knew his partner had already left him while he was serving time. So he was like, we'll never go on that holiday together. The one we were saving up for. The trip we kept all those brochures for. So Goodbye to that.
Modernizing medicine started 13 years ago to create efficiency.
For. So goodbye to that. Similarly, when someone dies, there usually are a lot of things left undone that will never be finished. What to do?
Unfinished business.
In the third step, you just need to follow and express the healthy need. The issue to explore is, what do you resent? And then, what do you miss? Remember, if you don't know what you're fighting for, the specifics, then it's probably not adaptive. And grief, it's not just about feeling sad. It's about identifying specific losses. So this third step is about using emotion to help organize you in a healthy way.
This is what my aha moment was, that I could stay sober and be able to be productive with it. If she hurts me, I do more pull-ups. I get into my sit-ups. I'm starting to get addicted to sit-ups instead of love. I started to obsess about my accomplishments and the man that I am, and that I've developed this channel, and I developed a label, and that I've developed businesses, and I've come up with ideas like Wheat Club, and that it's that successful right now, and that Wheat Swag Bags, and people are joining, and that I had built an empire, had 100 websites up at one time. I have thrown weed festivals, I have thrown weed events, I had made a weed magazine. I've accomplished things in my life, things that I should be proud of. And what I'm proud of is my sobriety, is my mental health, is being able to control myself and not jump into something like that was obviously a trap. I mean, she was mentally unstable. She was all over the place. She had ADHD so bad she would bounce from thought to thought to thought. She said, I like that you called me out on it. She would switch moods too fast for me. Sometimes she was in that amorous mood and loving mood, and then the next minute she was in that I'm confused mood, and I couldn't ride that roller coaster, bro. It was just, I literally had to get my refund.
Going back to how we started, this is where maybe it is a matter of time. Right? Healthy emotion has a vitality curve. It emerges, and you feel it, and you express it, and then you're done, right? You say goodbye, and life looks different now.
Yeah.
You have to finish the feeling. Going through that is the last step.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're doing these things even without knowing it, which is great. That's the upside, right? The downside is that we get stuck, and we don't even know why. We don't know where we're getting stuck. But this is actually part of healthcare research, and it's being studied. There is a unique solution to each sticking point. Finally, how does it all end, right? If you are depressed, then treatment should make you not depressed. But if your problem is unfinished business, what does a good ending look like? What counts as a good outcome? There are 3 viable outcomes to this whole thing, okay? Number 1, either you forgive someone and you reconcile, basically you get back together. Number 2, you forgive them, but you don't reconcile, right? You forgive them, meaning you give up the grudge you had.
I do.
That's what forgiveness is. But you decide not to reconcile. It's like forgive, but don't forget. You let go and you move on.
Try monogamy with me. She's already tried polyamory, and see if it fucking works for the both of us.
And number 3, you don't forgive. You don't reconcile, but it's still a good outcome. It's like holding the other person accountable, right? Which often comes with a shift in power and seeing the other person in a very different light.
Yeah, that she's not a fucking goddess. That she's a human just like me, flawed with a lot of unaccountability, and that she could just keep running, and that seems what she does. She ran from her country, she runs to other men, and she'll continue to look outside of herself for the solutions and do all the research, but not do the actual work and do that shadow work that we all have to do, that we all know and love, and. So yeah, I got shit to do. I got my haircuts a cut. I want to shave the sides and keep it long, and I finally got some clippers, so that's what I'm going to do today. But I wanted you guys to have this information. I wanted people to know about love addiction. It was the same for me for my anger addiction. It's not a substance, it's a feeling, and it's something that you can be very addicted to, and it will superimpose itself on top of everything. It'll become a high priority. And I found myself quickly getting attached to this person, feeling like she's the one, even though she's telling me I'm not the one. It's your morning motivation. As always, I say peace and love. And get some peace in your life, get some real love in your life, get somebody that wants to be near you and wants to meet you instead of these people that treat you as an option or or skippable, and that's or blockable. And that's where I started to come to terms with it, that I had to have my sobriety from sex addiction. It was hard as fuck, dude. She was beautiful. She was on it was under a full moon. She was naked on a beach, and I still didn't do it. I feel like I would have been even more addicted to it, and that's something that she would have used to keep me addicted to her, and I would have lost my power. I would have lost my personal power. I would have given it over to her. That's what happens when you have sex. You're giving power to the person. The person is making you feel more powerful and can quickly take that away. Next thing I know, she would be like, well, you took advantage of me, and I was just in shock, and I was just in the moment, and come up with all the excuses like she did last time instead of taking accountability and just said she just wanted to have sex with me. And maybe that's all it was. It's just using me as another coping mechanism or as an option, or instead of choosing me and wanting to be here with me on these islands and stop leaving me lonely on Lonely Beach and not being able to hold hands and not being able to have dinners with her and not being able to go home with her. I end up losing. I lose her back to the other guy. I end up losing my self respect. I end up losing my compass. And that's what I was on the line. I had to identify that. I had to identify how addictive I was to this substance, and um, um, quickly get my composure and my focus back and go, wait, I'm a fundraiser. I need to focus on money. I have no money to eat. What am I doing? It doesn't matter. I want love so bad. And you're like, fuck, man. Even overeating, like shit, dude. That's a fucking crazy thing to say, but it's true, bro. Even overeating, I'll be fucking sitting there going like, where's love at? I have no money, but I want to get to the beach where she's at. Instead of like, I need to get more money so I can eat, I'm trying to find somebody to give me a ride to her beach so I can confront her and say, why'd you block me? Total obsession, total addiction. I could see it manifesting all around me, and I had to keep it real. I was just like, oh my God, dude. And I'm like, that's why I walk away from her so suddenly without a goodbye, because I knew if I stuck around, I'd hug her again, I'd kiss her again, I'd be back in the cycle. And luckily, she broke it. Had a cord cutting ceremony. I think I felt it around midnight when the full moon was above me and still powerful. I felt it, and I'm sick of this guy hitting his hammer, so I'm going to get off this thing. But in reality, I had to realize that she wasn't choosing me. It wasn't something that she wanted to be a part of. It was something that she was willing to part from. And that's why I had to say Chigathon, and that means goodbye, but not forever and finish. And I will see you on the other side as soon as you like, share, and subscribe. But most importantly, comment below. When have you found yourself into a love addiction? When have you found yourself just enamored with someone, got love bombed, and felt all these rapid emotions really quickly, introduced them to your family, became part of their social circle, and then all of a sudden it's gone? What are you going to do then when you don't have love supply anymore, when you don't have your narcissistic supply, when they don't have your interest in mind? What are you going to fucking do about that? And that was like a big question. It was just like, okay, if I don't have this, who am I? And that's what I had to really get to. I had to figure out who I was and what I was about and what I really valued more than these other things like motherfuckers hammering. So it's just one of these things that I just really tuned into myself and said, what do you really deserve? And are you man enough to ask for it? Are you man enough to call it into existence, write it on a list, and demand it? And that's what I'm doing, asking for it and demanding it. And I suggest you do it too. Peace. I'll see you on the other side. Ciao. Fuck that hammer.